Hello and welcome to this O&DR Modurol video, Jaguar tyre specifications. This is video 160 in our series of XK8 videos, and this video is inspired by a question from one of our viewers, Andy Coyne, who asked about the tyre pressures for BBS alloy wheels, and that begged the question, well, what are the tyre pressures for all these different standard wheels and OEM tyres? And so I thought we'd get some sort of video together, and this is the result. So thanks Andy for that inspiration, and I'd also like to thank Gary van Remorto for sharing specifications with and bouncing the idea off. So okay, so it started off with this sticker, basically, that can be found in most of the early XKRs in the center console lid, the cubby lid. The part number of that is MJB7750AC. This is up to model year 2000, I believe. This is valid for, and it lists all the wheel tyre sizes 17, 18 and 20 at that point. I got in touch with Gary because I know Gary has 19-inch wheels on his later 4.2 XK8. He has the more advanced information in his car, and that includes the 19-inch wheels. You can see I've arrowed there. So thanks, Gary, for sharing that information with us. What's the information on that those stickers gives you is the tire width, the height, the diameter, etc. But what it doesn't tell you is the load and speed index. That's actually missing. So we've had to dig a little bit deeper. On the original sticker or specification, you can see it does have the load index in the sort of notes at the bottom. It does say load index should be 96 or 710 kilo, and the speed index of at least W or 168 miles per hour maximum. But I did a bit more digging, and there is another Jaguar specification, and it's listed in the vehicle specifications 07 2004. The publication number is JGM 103499-501, and in that you got the same list but a little bit more detail. You got the OEM tyre manufacturer and also the load and speed rating there. You can see the red arrow pointing there, and interestingly, most of the standard tyres at the factory were Pirelli or Continental in some cases. Okay, so let's look at the different diameters. So first of all, 17-inch. You should have on your car, if you've got these 17-inch wheels, normally Revolver. I think there is another couple of other 17-inch wheels. 245/50 R15, 99 load rating, Y speed rating, and they are 8-inch wide, 8J, 17-inch diameter. So normal Jaguar recommended tyre pressures are 32 on the front, 34 on the rear. And if you like it a bit more comfortable and you're driving less than 100 miles an hour, you can take another 2 psi out of front and rear to give you 26, 28. Moving up to 18-inch then, the front you should have 245/45 R18s with a load rating of 96, speed rating Y. You can have a choice of, depending on the wheel, 8 or 8.5 inch wide, obviously 18-inch diameter. The rear, you've got an extra 10 millimeters, 255/45 R18, 99 load rating, Y speed rating. They are slightly wider, 9J, and 18-inch diameter, obviously. These tyre pressures are advised at 32 at the front, 34 at the rear, and again, the comfort setting is slightly lower, in this case 26/28. Moving on to 19-inch, we've got the same sort of width of tyres here, but a bigger diameter. So we've got the 245 again, 40, R19, 98Y. Those are 8-inch wide at the front, and the rear is 255/40, 100Y, 9-inch wide at the rear. Again, the tyre pressures are 32/34, 32 on the front, 34 on the rear, and it doesn't really have a comfort setting at this diameter. It doesn't list any, so it just prescribes those two pressures. Moving on to the 20-inch wheels, you're getting wider again. The front is now 255 R35, load rating 96Y. The wheels are 9 inches wide, 20-inch diameter, obviously. The rear are 285, 30 R20 99Y, 10-inch wide on the rear. And the tyre pressures, again, are 32 on the front, but surprisingly 30 at the rear. There is no comfort setting. It's the same diameter wheel. Interesting, this is only the wheel and tyre combination that has a lower pressure at the rear than the front. I'm not quite sure about that. If anybody has an idea why that is, please mention it in the comments. Finally, the spare wheel. Don't forget the spare. The spare wheel, you should have a T135 80R18 104M. You should have either a 3.5 or a 4J by 18-inch diameter, and they are normally inflated to 60 psi. Now, if you've got a black steel rim, you'll have a 3.5J. The offset on that wheel is 33 millimeters. If you've got a red alloy rim, it will be a 4J with an offset of 15 millimeters. Now, you need the red alloy rim if you're using the Brembo or the R Performance brakes, just to clear those calipers. Okay, there are other markings on the tyres that we can go into: brand name, pattern name, country of manufacture, tread wear indicators, blah, blah, blah. One thing I wanted to just mention was the manufacturing date code, just in passing. This you can find on the edge of your tyre, on the sidewall of the tyre. It's 4 digits. You'll see it sort of in a little oval impression, because the manufacturer's having to change these numbers quite often, so there'll be a little insert in the tool to produce these impressions. Now, this particular, my old revolver spare wheel basically had a date code of 3400. Now, the way I interpret this, the first 2 digits are the week of the year, in this case week 34 of 52, and the year was year 2000, so this tyre is quite old. So yeah, you can read the how old your tyres are just very easy like that. Okay, so what wheels and tyres are you using, what pressures? So I'm actually using 9J by 18 BBS Milans, both front and rear. It's a bit obscure, but I bought this set of BBS alloys, and it turned out I had 4 wide or 4 rear wheels. I've got a Continental Conti Sport contact on them with 255/45 R18 103Y. They're actually heavy load tyres, and I'm using 32 psi both on the front and the rear. I've basically got very, very wide tyres on the front, and to be honest, I think the tyre pressure, increased tyre pressure on the front, helps a little bit with the weight of the steering. But it is a bit unusual. I have actually, as it turns out, got another set of BBS at Milans where I've actually got 4 fronts and a single rear. But I'm trying to produce a stagger set eventually, but it's all time and money. Other people, for example, Gary Van Remortel, I've read his XK8 Bible. If you haven't, and if you've got a Jaguar XK8 XKR, particularly a 4.2 one, it's a must to read that. I'll put a link in the description. He uses this daily, and interestingly, he's using Michelin Super Sport PS4s, and he actually increases the pressure on his driver's side. Because obviously, if you're using it as your daily drive, you're usually driving on your own, so you just sat on the one side of the vehicle, and he's actually increased the pressure on the driver's side by 2 psi as opposed to the passenger to get even tread wear, which I thought was really, really interesting. He's using 32 on the driver's side and 30 on the passenger side. So it really begs the question: what's your XK8 wearing? What tyres are you using, and what pressures? What wheel combination? I'm using quite an unusual. I say unusual, not that unusual, but I'm using an unusual combination. Gary's using unusual pressures. What pressures are you using? I'd really be interested to see what we've got out there. If you would add comments to the video. Okay, there you go. Hopefully that's everything you need to know about standard Jaguar XKR X100 tyres and tyre pressure combinations through all the different sizes. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, please press the thumbs up button, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more XK8 videos.